Welcome to the Ashraf podcast channel. If you're looking for, well, a shortcut to really getting your head around complex topics full of surprising ideas and, just enough interesting detail to keep you hooked, you are definitely in the right place. Make sure you subscribe for more deep dives, just like the one we have today, because today we're embarking on a really fascinating journey. Imagine having a guide to living life, one so profound its wisdom is still revered thousands of years later, woven right into sacred texts. That's exactly what we're diving into. Our deep dive today is into the timeless wisdom of Luqman. He's a figure known for profound insights and really practical advice highlighted in the Qur'an. And our sources, we've got some truly insightful excerpts from Sheikh Al-Shaarawi's commentary on Luqman's story. These aren't just, dry ancient texts. They're packed with logical reasoning and deep spiritual meaning. So our mission today is basically to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights from these sources. We're focusing on how Luqman's wisdom, rooted in that logic and the Quranic verses, offers a clear path, a kind of shortcut to understanding core principles of life. Get ready for some maybe surprising facts and those aha moments that connect ancient wisdom with how we understand things today.
Absolutely. And the story of Luqman, it's quite unique, isn't it? Because it presents this wisdom that feels both divinely inspired and yet deeply, deeply human. It really does provide a powerful blueprint for living a meaningful life. It's not just telling you what to do, but crucially, why it makes perfect logical sense. It's about grasping those foundational truths.
Okay, so let's start right there with the core concept the sources introduce first, hikmah. What exactly is hikmah or wisdom from this perspective?
Right, hikmah. It's more than just accumulating knowledge. Our sources define it as sort of a collection of virtues that become almost an inherent quality. They use the term malika.
Malika. Okay, so like second nature and ingrained ability.
Exactly. That's the key. It applies ease, intuition. You're not struggling to apply the knowledge. It just flows. You effortlessly put everything in its proper place.
Can you give an example of this, Malika?
Sure. Think about, say, a really seasoned scholar. You ask a complex legal question, and bam, the answer's there. Instantly, effortlessly.
Right, compared to a student who has to look everything up painstakingly.
Precisely. Or think of a master tailor threading a needle, sewing perfectly without even thinking. Compare that to a novice, struggling, cricking their finger.
Or an experienced driver navigating traffic versus a learner overwhelmed by everything.
Exactly. That's the malaka. Wisdom, in this sense, is when these virtues are so deeply ingrained, they guide your actions naturally, easily, almost instinctively.
That makes a lot of sense. It reframes wisdom, doesn't it? Not just knowing, but being.
That's a great way to put it. It's a state of mastery.
Okay, so if that's wisdom, our sources say the very first element, the foundation of the wisdom given to Luqman, is gratitude to God, shukr Allah. Why start there? That feels fundamental.
It is incredibly fundamental. And the sources explain it with, striking logic.
Yeah.
Think about it. We're given life countless blessings before we even exist, before we can ask, without any conscious effort from us.
Like our bodies functioning while we sleep.
Exactly. Your heart beats, your organs work, your pancreas does its thing, all while you're asleep. You don't consciously manage any of that. The sources note, God is not overtaken by drowsiness or sleep.
Implying our continued existence relies on His constant care.
Precisely. This constant unearned flow of blessings just makes gratitude the most logical response. It's almost necessary. And importantly, it acts as a check against arrogance. Right? It reminds us we're caretakers, not masters.
And here's where it got really interesting for me. Our sources say gratitude isn't just a response. It's a new blessing in itself. That's quite a twist.
It is, isn't it? It's a profound point. The Qur'an actually says, God who sends the winds is good tidings, so that you may be grateful. It suggests the ability to feel gratitude. That thankful disposition is itself a gift.
Wow.
And then there's the promise. If you are grateful, I will surely increase you. So gratitude isn't just looking back at what you received. It's actually a catalyst for more. It unlocks future blessings.
So it's a cycle of blessing and gratitude leading to more blessing.
Exactly. And even gratitude shown to other people.
Yeah.
If you really trace it back logically.
Right.
Where did that person get the ability, the means, the desire to help you? Ultimately, the sources argue, it all comes back to God's decree and provision. It's all interconnected.
So this whole idea of gratitude, it's not about pleasing God in the sense that He needs it from us. How do the sources clarify that? Because that's a common misconception, perhaps.
A very important point. The sources are crystal clear. Whoever is grateful, he is grateful for his own soul. meaning God doesn't need our thanks. He is Ghani Hamid, self-sufficient, praiseworthy in his own essence.
Ghani Hamid, self-sufficient and praiseworthy.
Right. He provides for everyone, believer or disbeliever. His dominion doesn't increase or decrease based on our gratitude. Our gratitude benefits us. It refines our character, opens us up to receiving more, aligns us with reality.
Okay, that's clear.
And there's a subtle linguistic point the sources highlight too, in the Arabic of the Qur'an. When talking about gratitude, it often uses a verb suggesting continuous renewed action, whoever is grateful. But for disbelief, sometimes a past tense is used, whoever disbelieved, implying, perhaps, that God doesn't desire continuous disbelief. That disbelief is hopefully a past state, something one can repent from. It's a subtle indication of hope and mercy. And Hamid also implies he is praiseworthy, even by those who logically consider his sustaining of those who deny him. They should praise him for not cutting off blessings despite their disbelief.
That's fascinating. Okay, so Luqman receives this wisdom, this hikmah, founded on gratitude, and then the Qur'an shows him immediately applying it, right? Advising his son.
Exactly. We see the wisdom in action. The Qur'an says and mention when Luqman said to his son while he was instructing him, and the Arabic word used here was, it's interesting. It means more like reminding or exhorting, not necessarily teaching something brand new. It suggests his son maybe already had some awareness, but needed this powerful, heartfelt reminder to really internalize it, to avoid forgetfulness.
Like reinforcing the malaka?
Precisely. I noticed the term of endearment, ya bunaya, oh my dear son, or my little son.
Yeah, that sounds very tender.
It is. And the sources emphasize it's not just sweetness, it's a gentle reminder. Even as you grow, you still need guidance. You still benefit from this parental tenderness. It also hints at that unique parental desire you want your child to be even better than you, right? To avoid your pitfalls.
Makes sense. So what's the very first piece of advice? The absolute number one.
La tushrik billah. Do not associate partners with God.
Straight to the core. Why is that the absolute starting point?
Because, according to the sources, it corrects the most fundamental misunderstanding of existence itself. It poses a really powerful logical challenge. How can you possibly worship something that actually serves you, or something that will outlive you? Think about the sun, the moon, mountains, the air. They continue. Generation after generation passes away. They are created things, servants, not masters.
Right. They operate by laws we don't control.
Exactly. And how can you worship idols you carved yourself? Things with no inherent power that can't speak, command, respond. They're creations, not the creator.
It seems illogical when put that way.
It is, and the Quran states it bluntly. Indeed, association with God is great injustice. Zulmatin. Injustice, the sources explain, is putting something out of its rightful place.
So worshiping anything other than the creator is the ultimate misplacement.
The ultimate injustice. Misplacing the right to worship, directing it away from the one who deserves it. Apparently, when this verse was revealed, the prophet's companions immediately understood injustice. Here specifically meant shirk, associating partners with God. It's that foundational.
Okay, so correct the foundation. Worship God alone. What comes immediately next in Luqman's advice, highlighted by the divine text?
Parents. Right after establishing monotheism, the focus shifts immediately to being good to parents. And notice, this isn't just Luqman saying it. The Quran inserts this as a divine command within Luqman's narrative.
Ah, so God is emphasizing this point directly here.
Precisely. It's divinely sanctioned, placed right after the core belief. And there's another linguistic detail our sources point out.
What's that?
Often the Quran uses the word ihsan for goodness towards parents, excellence, kindness. But here, in Luqman's context, he uses a stronger word, husnan, ultimate goodness, the highest level.
Husnan, why the stronger term specifically here?
Well, think about what comes immediately after. The text lays out a very challenging scenario. But if they, your parents, endeavor to make you associate anything with me, that of which you have no knowledge, do not obey them.
So if they pressure you towards shukr, the one thing Luqman just warned against.
You absolutely do not obey them in that. But, and this is the crucial part, the verse continues, but accompany them in this world with appropriate kindness, Marufa. Even in that extreme situation where they're asking for the greatest wrong, you disobey the command but must still treat them with the highest standard of worldly kindness.
Wow. That sets an incredibly high bar. Disobey the specific wrong, but maintain utmost respect and care otherwise.
Exactly. That's why husnan, that ultimate goodness, is perhaps used here. It demands an exceptional level of ethical conduct and character, even under duress.
And the verses then specifically mention the mother, right? His mother carried him with hardship upon hardship, and his weaning is in 2 years. What's the significance of highlighting the mother here and that phrase, hardship upon hardship?
Yes, the mother's struggle is given special emphasis. Al-luqman, hardship upon hardship, or weakness upon weakness. It highlights her unique sacrifice, especially during pregnancy and childbirth, a time of profound physical strain and vulnerability.
A struggle that starts before the child is even aware.
Precisely. Her hardship begins before the child can comprehend or appreciate it. The father's role and efforts often become more apparent later, during the child's conscious upbringing. But the mother's initial intense sacrifice is foundational.
And hardship upon hardship. What does that description convey?
The sources describe it as her inherent physical weakness, compounded by the growing burden of the fetus. Her body stretches, adapts, endures discomfort and pain, right up to the immense trial of childbirth itself. It's described almost like a vessel stretched to its limit.
It really emphasizes the depth of her sacrifice.
It does, and the sources suggest it's a mark of God's wisdom that procreation is tied to desire, because if people only considered the pain rationally, perhaps many would avoid it altogether. It underscores why the mother earns such a high degree of respect and kindness. Her initial sacrifice is immense and often unseen.
We've really dug deep into Luqman's wisdom today, guided by these commentaries. We've seen how real wisdom, hikmah, is this ingrained ease, this malika, in doing what's right. And how gratitude isn't just, saying thanks, but a fundamental logical response to existence and a key to growth. And then the core advice, pure monotheism and that profound respect for parents, grounded in reason and divine command.
Absolutely. It all ties back to that logical understanding of our place in the universe and our relationships.
So as we wrap up, maybe something for you, the listener, to think about.
Yes. How could applying this idea of malika, that effortless ingrained mastery, to your own understanding of, say, gratitude, or maybe your interactions with your parents, or other ethical principles, how could that actually transform your daily life? Can you move from just trying to be grateful or respectful to having it become an almost intuitive, effortless virtue? And how does connecting with the logical reasoning we discussed today help deepen that process for you? Something to ponder.